Yekaterina Chapter 1. The sun peeked through the window pane with a light 93 million miles away, and lit the room an easeful yellow, bouncing off the marble floors and decor within the living room. Yekaterina's eyes gazed out into the world, and watched the grains of sand move ever so slightly with a force that never showed its face, but made its presence known with a gentle touch across the cheek. As she looked out into the vastness of the earth, she reflected on the last time she was at Landavengler. She moved there when she was 15, and for 3 years she was a resident of the land that reached the heavens. Her daydream blew away as she heard her name called. "Cat, what are you thinking about?" asked her mother. "I was just thinking of the last time I was at Landavengler," she said. "How beautiful it must be there now. The change of the season must have the country in a mural of colours." "I was thinking more of the people and what it was like to live there." "Oh, I remember hearing your voice when you called the first year there. How upset and frustrated you were. It broke my heart knowing you were hurt," her mother recalled. "I remember being so angry at myself. I was there an entire year and could not move the light at all. I thought Dad was a fool to send me there. No Tulku had ever manipulated light before, so why should I be able to?" Katerina recollected. It was silent for a moment as they both reflected on the past. "You were born just after the war, and there was so much anxiety in everyone. When your father suspected that you were the Tulku, he went to great lengths to make sure he could do anything in his power to protect you, so that one day you could do everything within your power to protect not only yourself and the ones you love, but everyone in every nation." Victoria gave light to her husband's reasoning. "But how did he know? How did he know I would be able to bend light?" "Well, I believe Tokugawa had a lot of influence on your father." "What do you mean?" "Tokugawa is the reason you and I moved to Nihon for 3 years when you were 5 years old. He has impacted your father more than anyone I know, even more so than Abraham. We can see the Nihonen's energy flow through them like rivers of light streaming through their bodies, and they have the ability to manipulate the energy. Tokugawa and your father believe that everyone has this spiritual and physical energy that flows through them, and you were the first person that wasn't Nihonen nor Mongnolarian that could do so. When Yefimovich realized you could bend your own energy, he, Tokugawa, and I thought that after you finished studying and mastering the 4 elements, you could master the bending of light." Victoria gave reason to Katerina's wondering mind. "It was one of the hardest things I've ever done, and the most rewarding. When I have the light within my grasp, it's so ethereal and yet so powerful. It's a surreal feeling, moving and controlling it. I feel as though my spirit has fluttered its way to heaven, and I can feel God's presence. I wish you could feel what I feel, Mom." "It must be truly special." Victoria imaged the bliss. "Speaking of light, do you have your orb? You might need it while you're there." "It's packed away already. I'll definitely be needing it," she said. Then there came a soft tap at the entry to the living room. "Hey, Rivka!" "Hello, my princess." Rivka and Yekaterina giggled. "Your transporter just arrived and is waiting for you." "Thank you, Rivka. Tell them I'll be there shortly." "I will. I will start loading your luggage." "You know you don't have to do that," Kat told her. But Rivka ignored her with a smile and brought down her things. Katerina looked at her mom and wrapped her arms around her. "Wish me luck, Mom. I'll see you in a couple of days. Tell Dad I love him." "We love you too, Kat. Good luck." Victoria spoke with the warm heart of a loving mother. "Thanks, Mum. I love you too," she said, leaving her mother's embrace and walking out the door. 2 soldiers stood in front of the airship, an Ishan and an Adama soldier, who were dressed in warmer attire. Their caps, which they called ushanka, were made of fur with their military insignia sewed on the front. Their pants and jackets were solid in colour. There were no capes or elegant designs, but everything about their uniforms was streamlined and tactical. The collars of their jackets were also lined with fur, and their gloves were of the same colour as their uniforms, keeping their hands warm as the temperatures began to fall. Both the soldiers bowed as Yekaterina approached them. "Aren't you boys a little warm in those uniforms? It's not winter just yet," she said as she bowed back to them. "It's a little warm, but that will change by the end of the week," said the Ishan. "Oh, the harsh winter months, I can't wait. Nice gloves, by the way," she said, referring to the Ishan gloves that were different from the other military branches, as they were designed so that the soldier was able to use their ability to manipulate fire and lightning. "Let's go, boys," she said, waving them inside the ship. Yekaterina entered a room within the airship and took a seat upon a bed within the craft. The vehicle broke free from the clutch of gravity and glided into the gentle wind of the stratosphere, high above the clouds of dust and water, and all the creatures of the earth. She unzipped her luggage and took out the orb she packed away for her week-long stay at Avengler and placed it in front of her on the bed. Katerina pinched her thumb and forefinger as if she were pulling a thread and pulled out a thin string of light from the orb. The dainty strain of light twirled elegantly, and the letters revealed themselves as she had written them. Yekaterina took a deep breath and began to speak what she had written, practicing her speech until she felt each paragraph, each sentence, and each word were spoken with the intent in which she had drafted them. Her eyes began to wane, and her mind tired, so she dozed in a docile slumber, and when she awoke, her eyes grew wide to the beauty of Avengler. The water of the great fall rained down to the earth with sobs of joy, spreading life to the world with its tears, so that trees would grow and flowers would bloom, so that clouds could hold the cries and release the water where the earth needed it. "The tears of God," Yekaterina whispered to herself. The glamour of the waterfall stretched 575 miles across, nearly the entire coast of the continent, and as they passed the great fall of Gudrifa, Katerina watched the land below, where the rivers moved like snakes on the ground and stopped in great lakes as blue as sapphires. The rivers and lakes never ended, but were joined by fields of wheat farther than the eye could see, and met with forests denser than the heaviest stone. The shadow of time grew longer, but her flight even shorter, and before the day could give way to the night, she was over the city of Kristalvanna. The backdrop of the mountain looked painted as it stretched across the rustic sky, and the city down below glistened like diamonds in the rough. The droplets of water from the falls above shined on the stones of the buildings and shimmered on the moss that covered much of the city's hard surfaces. To Katerina, this was a home away from home, and her heart did not patter with fear as it bounced within her chest, but instead batted with love and excitement, as she could see old friends waiting for her below. The ship set down like a bird landing on a steady branch, and before the doors of the craft could fully open, Erie came running through with arms stretched wide and a smile brighter than the sun, nearly tackling Katerina to the floor with her embrace. "I'm guessing you missed me," Yekaterina said with laughter in her voice. "You're like my second sister. Of course I missed you," Erie said in her sweet voice, in a matter-of-fact kind of way, finally letting go of her fierce and welcoming grip. "I hope you didn't have anything planned for tonight." "No, I have nothing. Why?" she asked. "Oh, you'll see." Erie smiled a sly grin. As the girls left the plane, Heilagr was waiting for them. "Hey, Mom, look who I have." "Sweet cat, you look beautiful. How was your trip?" Heilagr asked, kissing her on the cheek. "It was beautiful. We came up from Gudrifa and travelled the entire continent. Every bit of it was picturesque. The falls and rivers, the lakes and forest, the changing of the leaves as you get closer to Kristalvanna. It's stunning," she marvelled. "It is wonderful this time of year, isn't it?" "Shall we get going?" Heilagr asked. "Let's go," said Erie. The craft that took them home was shaped like an egg and made from airy materials found underneath the continent. It had an open cockpit with 4 embroidered seats and was powered by imprisoned light. The energy of the light ran through the body of the car, turning the gears that powered the wings shaped like the feathers on an eagle. The wings kicked the air with a whoosh of a sound. It pumped twice more its wings and glided them to a light in the distance, which Kat remembered as her second home. The city gave a sense of serenity and peace, almost utopian, but every nation has its struggles. The whetstones of the buildings and the dew upon the moss twinkled throughout the city in celestial lights, with fireflies pulsating the dusk of night. The wings of the carriage began to curve, bending the air and creating drag, making a soft and subtle sound as it slowly descended to the earth, and it landed at the home of Enoch. The lights of the house shone honey yellow as they gleamed a lovely glow, and when Yekaterina opened the arched red-orange door, she was greeted by old friends with a yell of surprise. Her eyes lit up like a candle in the wind as they flicked and danced across the room until they swelled with tears that never fell, but held themselves within the lines of her lashes, fluttering away the drops she never meant to show. She smiled wide with teeth of pearls and put the room a smitten blaze with every bashful laugh that left her darling lips. Her heart felt cozied in their love, as if lying on clouds of cotton nestled by a burning fire, being home, yet far away.